In this tutorial, we're going to go over display setup. Display setup is a feature that allows you to choose which cameras are displayed in each one of the squares on your screen, on the main screen of the DVR software. And you can also set up different groups so that you can change how these cameras are configured on the fly. You may want to have one setup where you have a group that represents all of the cameras that are in a basement, and you may want to have another group where cameras are configured a certain way because that particular group represents all the cameras that are on a roof or in a laundry room or something of that nature. It's basically a way just to assign cameras, and you can assign them in different groups, which are accessible over here under matrix display. Once you configure the groups, you can pick a different group here and see that group represented here on the main screen on the fly. So we'll go ahead and click Settings and then click Matrix. And we're only concerned with this bottom half of the screen. The top portion here is for customers who have purchased Matrix PCI cards that allow you to send out video to a monitoring system so that you can view what's going on the cameras live on another monitor. But like I said, that's going to be addressed in a different tutorial. So if you look down here under display setup, you can create up to 16 different groups. We're going to stay with group 1 here. Video view mode, we're gonna keep this at 9 view. And here for video window, this is how you choose which camera is going to be displayed in each one of the screens in this particular view. So because we've chosen 9 view, this means we can choose up to 9 cameras. So for instance, for window 1, right now we have camera 9 being displayed in window 1. If we go to window 2, we have camera 6 being displayed in that window. Window 3 is displaying camera 3. Window 4 is showing camera 4. Window 5 is showing camera 5. Now we can change the view, but we'll go ahead and leave this as is and then click Save and Return. And then, if you can remember this particular screen that's called Dome, this represents camera 5. So right now, camera 5 is showing up in square number 5 if you count from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the 9 view that we configured for the first group. Now we're going to go back and make a change to that so you can see what the difference is. We just click Settings, go back to Matrix. Now we can decide, well, for group 1 we don't want a 9 view, we want a 16 view. And we can click Save and Return. Go back to the main screen here. Now if we click Matrix Setup, sometimes you have to click on another group and then jump back in order to update it. So we click group 2 just to switch to something else so that group 1 would update. And now it's updated to a 16 screen. And as you can see, camera number 5 is still in square number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have 16 screens here now. Now we can go back to Settings, click Matrix, and we can create a configuration for group 2. In group 2, we'll make window number 1 contain camera number 5. And we'll make this a 64 view. And we'll click Save and Return. Okay, now we're looking at we're still looking at group 1. We just configured group 2. So to see the configuration we just created for group 2, we have to go over here to the matrix display. And keep in mind, by default, usually this displays color and audio. You're going to have to click matrix display to access this. We're going to click group 2, and we see that it has split into 64 screens, just like we configured in the matrix screen. And you can do that for up to 16 different groups. We can create a third group. We can make the view for this one 20 view. And we'll make window 1 display camera 5. Save and return. And now we have a 20 view screen. Camera 5 is displaying in the first window just like we just chose in that display setup. So just keep in mind, you can, sometimes the way the cameras are plugged in, you may not want them displayed in that particular order. And this screen gives you the freedom to rearrange the camera windows on the main screen. You may have your cameras plugged in, so that, camera 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you may have them plugged in a certain order. And after you have them all plugged in, you may decide that you want camera 5 to be the first one displayed instead of camera 1, and you can make those changes here in display setup. And you have a lot of flexibility because of the groups. It lets you change what you're seeing on the fly. This is really helpful if you have cameras grouped in such a way that you want to be able to see all the cameras representing a particular area, and rather than viewing all your cameras on the screen at once, like here in our second display group. As you can see, the squares are pretty small, so when there's activity, it would be difficult to really make out what's happening. You could create a group. Let's say you split this up into 4 groups of 16. You can maybe say this is the laundry room. It would be easier to see what's going on by viewing what's in the laundry room, viewing those 16 cameras. And then you might have the garage, and you might have 20 cameras there. You can click back and forth between those areas rather than trying to see all 64 cameras on the screen at once. So that's the way that particular function is used.